Aloha, shamans, and welcome to our little corner of the galaxy here in this dimensional space called EarthStar Spiritual Center in Greensboro, North Carolina, United States of America. And today is December 19th, 2025, one day after my birthday, so I'm still adjusting. 66. Okay, good. So today we'll do our shamanic life coaching, a special session with Reverend Greg Thompson, a lifetime friend of mine. Here in North Carolina, we were high school best buddies and grew up right next to each other. And tonight we'll have a follow-up interview with the journey of grief and aloha consciousness, as Greg's now had about a month to review our first video we did back in November, and just some extra thoughts and perspectives we can add to the journey of grief. So thank you for being here today with Greg. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I thought I had a clapping hand sign, but I can't find it right now. But anyway, wherever it went, banners. And so thank y'all for joining us. We know it's a busy time of year, and lots of stuff going on, lots of options. So we just wanted to continue this journey of grief since it's come up at this time, and maybe perhaps we can find some aloha consciousness amongst us. Okay. All right. Well, let's just go through our slides, and we'll see where we are, and then we can interject. There we go. Good. All right. So here we are. This is December 19th. Okay. And we are EarthStar Spiritual Center. We're a multi-faith church for living aloha, discovering our wholeness. Been doing this since 2002. So our core beliefs are all loving God, love, oneness, heart as above, so below. So that acronym is Aloha. Okay. And then we are here with shamanic life coaching. And when we think about shamanic life coaching, we're, from our perspective, as we do teach this and offer sessions with this, Greg does also, we're thinking that it's defined as positive action-oriented steps to achieve a goal or skill. So think of shamanic life coaching like an athletic coach, right? An athletic coach is teaching someone to play baseball, for instance. So we're not really delving into family history, the why they want to play, why they don't want to play. Right, we're focusing on learning those skills to be an effective baseball player. So with our shamanic life coaching, we're helping people to be effective shaman, especially in this multi-dimensional world. So our objectives today is, of course, defining grief, assessing grief, and then creating the acronym for feelings and thoughts for current feelings, and also for evolve healed feelings. Because remember, grief, like everything else, it is a journey. We have a beginning and an end, because the end of that brings us to a point where we are now realigned and we're a new person, and we're able to take that next step, that next breath, that next heartbeat for the next journey. Okay? Mm-hmm. And then also Greg is going to provide some insights, as we discussed earlier. And basically, what did you want to provide insights about the grief journey itself that you've come up with?
Just, it is a journey. It changes, but it's not a mental illness or psychopathology. It's just the result of what's happening in our lives.
Yes. Okay, yeah. And we were talking earlier about almost like, if you could title it, the pathology of grief, or pathology of the journey,
right?
So to speak. Okay. Yeah. Very good. All right, so again, just to give us a basic definition of grief, if we want a modern definition, remember it's some type of bereavement, deep distress or mourning after a death or loss of a loved one, and it usually involves physical and mental, emotional, psychological anguish and pain And remember, if you watched the earlier videos, I discussed why after is underlined, because some folks will have grief over something that hasn't even happened yet. They're in the process of grieving over grief that they're simply creating before it even happens. Much like the fear thing, when we have fear in our life, we have fear because of something that hasn't even happened. We're just dreading something. So I want to make sure that we change that around. Because remember, we're all living this beautiful dream. So make this a beautiful dream. So change the way you think and the way you act into a purpose-driven life full of love and aloha. Another definition be a loss of a person, place, or thing. In other words, that love connection gets severed. So here is not necessarily a death involved. It could be a breakup, a divorce, a separation. It could be between, people you really love, you're intimate with, or it could be just a friend, or maybe you've moved, you've had to change residences, or even change neighborhoods, and you experience some sort of grief from that. And also a thing, most normally with pets. You know how those pets, they pull at our heartstrings. So, when you lose those pets and they go into that next dimension, a lot of anguish and pain there sometimes with that. So, and then another definition of grief would be feelings or thoughts of depression, longing, or separation from persons, places, or things. Again, jobs, pets, relationships, and residences. Anything else that you came up with as far as a kind of a general definition of grief at all?
Well, a sudden change in your normal, what you're used to.
Exactly.
It may be anticipated or it may not.
Yeah, just in our normal everyday routine.
Right.
Yes.
And depression is it's not really clinical depression. It's more reactive depression to external circumstances as opposed to internal.
Right.
Process.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. Now, I know I introduced Greg on the other show we did a month ago. So Greg is a reverend. He's a pastor, a Methodist pastor in South Carolina. And now, how long have you been doing that? Because you were a chaplain before that,
right,
after you got out of seminary.
Right. Well, let's see. I got out of seminary about 28 years ago. And so I've done chaplain and pastor work in between.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So,
and then how long you been in South Carolina as a reverend down there?
About 7 years, I think.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I'm sure with your flock, you've had to deal with grief stuff all the time with pastoral counseling.
Yes. My initial appointment there was with the church. The pastor was killed a week before.
Oh, goodness.
And then I was appointed to go to them.
So the whole church went through a grief process.
Right.
So you stepped into having that big grief. Oh, goodness. Oh. Are you still, even after 7 years, is there still some feelings there that people are bringing up about that?
Well, I'm not there anymore.
Oh, okay. Maybe to another church.
But they want me to come back.
Right.
So
we'll
see. But yeah, I'm sure it is because, that stuff just doesn't.
Yes. And we know how that loving relationship between pastors and the congregation, that's a wonderful relationship. Truly do build some quite spiritual and earthly bonds.
Right. Yeah. So.
All right. So let's look at assessing current choice points that most people have that Greg and I have come up with or been involved with when we help people with this grief process. And these are probably the top three that we've both experienced. That is, sometimes folks will remain in that downward spiraling sadness or negative emotions. Another one is the unable or unwilling to move into change or growth. And the third one is self-sabotaging efforts or mindset to punish oneself. And that mostly comes from thinking that you could have done more.
Right.
And so remember on the outset, I want to make sure to remind you that if you can imagine your high school graduate self as compared to your first grade self, you obviously know a lot more in the 12th grade than you did as a first grader. But as a first grader, you had that capacity to be just a first grader. So don't punish yourself for being an evolved soul and spirit now, thinking you wish you'd have known that back then, because you couldn't have known that back then because you weren't you now. So make sure you understand that's part of that growth process.
And that's grace.
Yes, that's the grace. So when you think about the acronym for grief, then, and we come up with and these are current thoughts that most people would experience. G being the gloom and doom, glum or guilt. R, regret, remorse, repentance. Repentance being that atonement, right? I, incompetent, inept, insulting, and insulting is toward oneself. That's the coulda, shoulda, woulda done things, but remember, you're more involved now. So yes, you would have done things differently. Emotions, excuses, exhaustion, and also failure, fault, and fear. So Greg, anything from a month ago when we talked about this, anything as far as new words you would associate with any of these, this being a current grief that you're feeling?
Well, with G, for me now, moving into a gathering phase. R would be, well, it's still renewal, resurrection. I is integration still. I'm making this part. Evolution of the E. I said emptiness. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I understand, brother.
But now F has become friends.
Oh,
it's taking an interesting turn. I guess more towards socialization as a part of healing.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So, yes. Okay. Very good then. So those at home then, if you haven't seen this yet, so I'll encourage you to, you can use the words that's on the screen. So just pause the screen and write those down. And then on the next screen, go ahead and make your own little grief sheet. And remember, these are the feelings that you're having right now, as this may be a new feeling, new thoughts. If you've experienced something new as far as grief, some sort of loss, or perhaps you're still grieving something that happened quite a while ago. So either way, if the feelings are current and the thoughts are current, then go ahead and use this particular screen.
And no judgment.
Yes, and no judgment. Right, because remember, this is a work in progress.
Right.
So go ahead and make all the words that you can think about with your current feelings, and again, just refer back to the screen before that if you'd like to add some of those words to it. Okay? So that'll be your first sheet. So we have 2 sheets to do.
And that's good as assessing, and do it every month or so just to see what's happening.
Yes. Keep it current, and that can see that progression of healing. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that would be wonderful. Yes, because remember, this is all a work in progress until we get to that healed point. Okay? All right, now let's move to would be part of our second sheet, and this would be assessing a healed choice point. So an evolved choice point. So now this is down the road. Of course, you're going to decide how long is down the road. But once you get to a point where you are evolving, like Greg just said, this could be even on a monthly basis. Just do your sheets. So you see, I have the small number 1. So this is what most people usually think, and that is remaining in a downward spiraling sadness or negative emotions. But when you see the larger number 1, now these would be more positive, uplifting things in our evolved or healed state. And so one of these could be in reference, in contrast to the smaller number 1, and that's shifting into positive upward spiral of joyful possibilities, allowing that aloha now to be part of your life. And some of the ways that we could visualize this or live this would be shifting into another gear of peace. So you're no longer in pain, or the pain has lessened. Again, that is evolution. It's healing. Realizing that life is eternal. And this may really, with a loss of a loved one, especially someone, Greg lost dear wife Lisa, back in August, June. Okay. So this is still fresh, right?
Yeah.
So we're 6 months in, it's still fresh. So it helps folks to realize that truly life is eternal, and when the rubber meets the road, so to speak, that's when we finally will galvanize that particular belief we have in this. And please know, life is eternal. Okay. And you will be with your loved one again, because we're all part of that soul family. And then also loved ones, they're still in your heart, still in your memories, they're still in your emotions. And you see the little quote I have underneath that. Let me blow that up for you so you can see it. My memory loves you. It asks about you all the time. That's from Jonathan Carroll, an American author. Wonderful little quote. I love that. Greg, any evolved thoughts you've had about this since we spoke a month ago?
Well, one thing that jumped out at me, Dale, was I forget, it's one of the laws of physics that says the energy isn't destroyed, it just takes other forms. Well, it hit me the other day that love is like that.
Yes.
Love does not disappear, it takes different forms. So.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yes. Great perspective of that. Love and energy. Yes. And we know love is energy and energy is love. So yeah,
right.
Wonderful. Okay. All right, great. Let's go to the next one. So remember, you see the small little 2 underneath there, and that was that type of a common grieving is unable, unwilling to move in the change and growth. But now when we move into an evolved state, we can see that that's a self-motivating mindset or heart set to embrace change and growth for opportunities of life and joy. So aloha, again, we don't want to slam the door on any of those wonderful growth opportunities that are presented to us. Setting new goals and ideas, because remember, this is a realignment. So creating the space for love to happen. We want to do that. Just like eventually you will begin to clean out the home front or clean out things that are around that are no longer needed. They've been healed. So you repurpose those things, clothes and other items after a time period. Yeah. So what you're doing is you're creating space for more love to come in. Right. Honoring yourself enough to live and love again. Okay? And that's people, places, and things. So either being in relationships with other people, other pets, other places if you moved away, and other things. Okay? And being, again, attentive to these opportunities, because you want to make new memories. And a good quote from Zig Ziglar, let me blow this up for you. You don't drown by falling out of the boat. You drown by staying in the water, right? So let me invite you to get out of the water and get back into the boat and create those new opportunities for love. Any insights with that particular one, Greg?
Well, from what I've seen, it's a tricky thing. We want to evolve, but sometimes we have to be in the negative spiral for, I don't know why, just sometimes, but it sets the pace for us to come up.
Yes.
It's like, when you hit bottom, there's nowhere to go but up.
Exactly. Yes.
So maybe a kind of a dynamic thing that way. And also new opportunities to come along. When we choose something, we lose possibilities.
Yes.
So now that something's been removed, we have new possibilities that will open up to us.
Yes.
And thankfully, God, Creator, is working with us to do that. And God may have new things in line to come in, but we have to be open to receive it. Yes. So easy to say, but a lot of work.
Yes. A lot of work.
So I'm gonna go online saying it's not easy, but
but it is a journey. Yeah,
right. It is a journey.
Yeah. And there will be healing, right? We want to create the healing some way, somehow. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that insight. Okay. And then number 3, remember the older way of thinking, or the current way when we have new grief would be the self-sabotaging efforts, right? The mindset to punish oneself, right? So the new optimistic type thinking would be to realigning with God and the wholeness of life and love, or aloha, right? So the big one is forgiving oneself for actions and reactions. Remember, from the shamanic viewpoint, forgiveness is in reference to yourself, the way you acted and reacted, because thinking as a shamanic person and the eternity of love, we know that we've created this reality where we've invited these people into our movie called Our Life, right? So just think, we're the casting director. Right. We've asked for these experiences to challenge us, to support us, to help us to learn and to be a better self, right? And so we've asked these people to be in our lives, and then they're in our lives, and we think we have to forgive them if they do something we don't like. Well, right. You've asked them to be in your life. So, and now granted, some of them are Academy Award-winning performances. Yes, they are really good at what they do. So it's forgiving yourself about how you acted towards that or reacted. So remember that. Healing. We all know time heals all wounds. So, and time will heal all wounds. So just remember that. So how long does it take to recover? Are you going to develop an intention of or a habit of grieving, and you can't seem to get out of that, almost like you're just spinning your wheels or like the hamster on the wheel, right? But we know you can move past that. Just be aware of it and try to move on the best you can when you're ready. And remember that love is the alignment. It's always the alignment. It's always has been, it is, and it will be forever. Love is always our safety net. So be the love. So see, hear, and feel the love in every moment, in everyone, everything, and everywhere. Just be love. And let me make this larger for you. We see Amelia Earhart. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. Yeah, so wow. Love Amelia. Good quote from Amelia Earhart. Any perspectives with that, Greg? Had a month to think about it.
Right. Well, forgiveness of self. I've been my worst enemy, like all of us, but been painfully aware of how hard I am on myself. And a habit of grieving, sometimes that's just part of the spiral that in our recovery. And we, of course, would prefer not to, but who wouldn't? But sometimes it's part of removing pathology not pathology, something that needs to be removed. Something just jumped out at me over here. Empty yourself of everything.
Yes.
And so I guess that's why I popped that. Because that's part of it is the emptying process of whatever, we're talking about grief in particular now. And because that's, one thing we all have in common is some type of grief, varying degrees. That's the oneness, but how we deal with it and use the opportunities. That's one thing that I'm trying to do, praying about. Use the opportunities that are in this moment that I set up to have.
Yes.
And not just run crying off, oh me, all that.
Right. Yes.
I don't mean to make fun of it. No offense intended, but at the same time, we've set these things up and they're happening. And so
right. Yes.
It's the fullness of time.
Yes.
So that's kind of my thoughts.
Yes. Good. Outstanding. Yes. Okay. All right. And then, and now this will be your second sheet. So on this one, then this is going to be your healed or evolved feelings and thoughts. So again, you can see here now we have gentleness, goals and grace, realignment, remembrance, renewal, insights, inspiration, intuition, eternal, evolving, excitement, focus, forgiveness, and freedom. These are some of the words you can use, because on the next slide, you're going to make this other sheet now. So you'll have the new or the current feelings you have for this recent grief. And then this is going to be your sheet that has the healed or evolved feelings and thoughts. So you can use these words on your sheet, but also try to come up with some words that speak specifically to you. Now, Greg, any new evolved words? I know you mentioned some of those earlier, but any ones that come to mind jump out at you now?
Well, I guess the G was the gathering / grace.
Yes.
I've always been a big shot talking about grace, but giving it to myself, deficit.
Yes.
So grace is coming. I like realignment / resurrection.
Yes.
And then integration, because integration for me is a way of resolving the illusion that not everything's not connected.
Right.
So to me, that's a resolution of that. And evolution, everything's a process. It moves at different rates. It may not move fast enough for us. Some of us are, want it almost instantly. And then friends is the new one for me with F. It's time to connect socially and to help others in grief out of my experience.
That's nice for friends.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You want to keep those friends around. You want to gather those friends. Yeah. Because remember, these are new alignments or realignments to who you are and how you live life. Yeah, you've got to have that, because things will change. That's the constant about this. It will change.
It will.
And we want it to change for the better.
That's right. And permanence is
Right.
the only thing you can
Yes.
count on.
And remember, when we say change for the better, that doesn't mean we forget about these loved ones that have moved on or made transition. We still love them. They're still in our hearts or minds. So they're with us every day.
The age of Aloha,
Yes.
heart. It's a heart thing.
So they are there. Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. And so make your new sheet now with your new words and use that and compare them. And like Greg mentioned earlier, maybe do this once a month to see what has evolved. Mm-hmm. So when we think about the journey of grief, then what will need to happen to help you to evolve? How long will it take to move from your current grief to this healed or evolved grief? And of course, you're going to have to decide about that. And then today we also wanted to, Greg and I were talking, and he was mentioning this, his thoughts about the pathology of grief. Right. Because you've been doing some studying and reading, and maybe some thoughts that you could share about that. So the pathology of grief, like what would you think? What would be a good? How could people relate to that definition of the pathology of grief?
Okay. Well, first of all, I need to cite my source.
Okay.
Dr. Alan Volfort, Vowfort, has done a lot. He's a psychologist who's done a lot of work with grief. He experienced it early in his life, so he served out of that. He said that grief really is not a pathology like we make it. That is a normal reaction to situations and consequences. So, of course, it can become pathological, but us initially treating it like pathology, like, well, Greg cries all the time, you must be clinically depressed, or, it's reaction, reactionary depression, not clinical, because it's dependent on things outside of us. Right. So if we could just as people work through their grief and process it, if we could be supportive for them and not think, oh no, it's a whack job.
Yeah.
No, because it's not. We were, for some reason, we are supposed to go through this, and we would, well, nobody ever choose it, but, in that kind of choice, but out of a larger perspective, we chose it to evolve. So that if we can own it in that way, so we're not victims. Yes. But it was a choice that we made at one time to further our evolution or move into the image of Christ, to use the theological things. Right. So if we can realize that and work through it that way, it won't be as debilitating. Or if you have the grief days, like I do sometimes, you just let it flow and don't hold on to it. Right.
And just to remind people now, Greg's wife did make transition back in the summer. So right. This is new to you. This is fresh. Yeah. It's still raw.
June 30th at 12:45 a.m. Yes. I awoke to give her medication, and she was gone. Yeah. And then my brain became mush.
Because how long were y'all together? Like dating and everything? How long?
Well over 38 years.
Oh, goodness.
So,
long time.
So it was. So neurologically, I lost 3/4 of my brain.
Yes.
So I'm in the process of rewiring, and we go through that. Anybody, I guess, really any loss is because we developed these connections. Even we had a cat for 16 years, and when she died, man, I cried every day for a month.
Right. Yes.
But 16 years is a lot of neurons. So if we can be graceful with ourselves as we go through this, and I'm one to talk.
Yeah.
I'm a hypocrite. Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm learning the grace to say, yeah, Greg, it's all right. You know, this is part of the change that we're going to bring about. You're going to extend grace to yourself so you can really extend it to others.
Yes. And just briefly, since you spoke about the pathology of
Right.
grief and the definition of that word. As you think about it, what are there other synonyms for that word, the pathology of grief? I mean, we're talking about a synopsis or a symptom or a perspective.
Oh,
What
yeah.
would that be?
Well, yeah, it's be a collection of symptoms.
Okay.
Reactive depression, trouble with focus, concentration, trouble seeing things the way they are
Yes.
because it's so clouded.
Excellent.
And you want to withdraw.
Mhm.
You don't have the energy to. You don't want to step out and do things. You don't want to keep your routine.
Yes.
I don't want to go out without my wife or my husband. Like a third wheel.
Yeah.
So, socialization is always. God made us for socialization, despite what we introverts deal with. But socialization is part of the healing also.
Excellent. Oh, excellent definition.
Yeah.
Really usable terms and
Right.
and I guess figures of speech and everything. How we can use pathology.
Right.
That seems like a scientific word. Sometimes
Right.
people may get lost in that.
Right. Yeah.
Thinking pathology is death. A lot of people think about pathology. The pathologist, the coroner.
Yeah. But no, it's just emotional working out.
Yes.
Well, I always go back to the image or the analogy of the goldsmith, purifying the gold,
Right.
heating it up and working out the dross and all that. So that we'll be the gold at a certain point,
Yes.
and all the dross is worked out of us.
Right. Excellent. And then also from a optimistic standpoint about the journey of grief, we know that we can think about also and remind ourselves of the wonderful, loving moments we had and the opportunities we had to spend time. I mean, to spend
Right.
38 years with
Right.
Lisa,
Mhm.
or what, 16 years with the cat.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, just to appreciate those times we have had, and I
Right.
think we're so fortunate to have even had
Right.
this time, and thank God we had this time to share that love with someone.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, that's important. Gratitude. I'm reading about how gratitude rewires our brain.
Yes.
It gets more positive things going, and yeah, I celebrate the times I had with Lisa. Hiking in the woods, sitting by the ponds. Sitting by water. We like that water element again.
Yeah.
But yeah, we celebrate that, and it stays alive in our heart.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't get over grief. We just grow around it that it doesn't drag us around.
Right. Yes.
The person's always with us, but we have this process that we don't know sometimes.
Yes, that's right. We're building the plane as we're flying it, right?
Right, there you go.
Is that what the grief is? Yes.
Yeah, great.
Right, because for some people, it really is especially with you. I mean, I know mom and dad have passed that I knew because we grew up with y'all.
Yeah.
And but now this is a spouse,
Right.
someone that's even more intimate.
Right. Yeah.
And so you had your parents, and we've had friends and pets, but it's like when that spouse decides or makes that transition, that's a big major realignment has to take place. So.
True. And also working with people in different grief situations. Like I've availed myself to a grief counselor with hospice, which has been helpful, and also a grief share group. And working with other people that are going through this is helpful. And a couple of women in the group lost husbands due to suicide.
Yes.
Which is a whole
goodness.
level
Yes.
of I don't know, difficulty or challenge but so it's it's all the old saying, you could always find somebody richer than you or poorer than you or worse off than you or better than you. There's always that kind of middle. So for me, it was like I really hurt for those women. I mean,
Yes.
I just can't imagine. But so
That's great. And now, are you at the point yet where you're able to provide grief counseling to folks if they want to give you a call or contact you by email, or are you still in that process where you're trying to get your feet back on the ground and deal with some things first? So.
I am still in that process.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Because it's like what happened on June 30th. Man, I've actually done grief counseling before. What happened?
Yeah.
Where's that guy?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like the same body. And I don't know.
But now it's hit you so personally. Every cell in your body has been affected.
Right. So, but I can see eventually down the road that I'll be a better pastor and person for having this level of empathy now.
Right.
So I will, like I said, a friend of mine, his mother died 2 weeks ago. So I'm pushing the envelope, trying to help him. And
right.
So it'll get there.
Yes. We'll get there. Right. It's the journey of grief. So we know that
part of the journey.
We're taking those steps, we're making those heartbeats, taking those breaths. But there is an end to that journey, and then that's when we start the new journey. Right. So we have many journeys in life, many steps we take. So,
sure.
That's wonderful for that. All right, let me get back to our slides. So again, decide what will need to happen to evolve, because remember, you will evolve. And I'm inviting you to evolve in a positive, affirming way, because you are love. You are an incarnation of love from our a wonderful creator and God. And you are that piece of God that shows God to the world. So please evolve and find a place where you can have that healing and evolution with your grief. So again, you decide how long. Greg, how long? I know it's new for you, only been 6 months, but do you see light at the end of the tunnel here for you? Do you see that, yes, there will be a day soon that I will be at that point where I'm ready to step back into the world as this new Greg, a realigned Greg?
Yeah, I'm starting to. Yeah. I'm actually at the same time seeing that Lisa passing when she did was a gift, because she would have had to go into memory care,
right? And
that would have been horrific financially and emotionally. So I can see God's grace even in that.
Yes.
So my counselor said, that's good to see that, even to theorize it this soon.
And since this is fresh for you, I know people often talk about, the first holidays after first birthday,
right?
Or holidays after. So,
yeah.
So when you think about that, especially for the folks in the audience that have experienced this loss during this year, and now here we are, Thanksgiving has already happened, and now we're at Christmas, or maybe perhaps birthday, their personal birthdays have passed.
Right, yeah.
Any insights that you're currently going through now that you think other people could relate to?
One thing is, I don't mean to make it worse than it is, but expect it to be rough.
Yeah.
Don't be like, oh God, it's so hard. Yes, it is. And it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And if you don't get yourself wired up to say, man, this is going to be tough.
Yeah.
It won't be for me, it wasn't as debilitating, because I went into it saying, Thanksgiving, look out, man. And look out for Christmas. You're going to have it. So I think, not to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, but just realizing that it is a logical sequence in an illogical process. Spock would have a hard time. This is illogical. Yes, Spock. But seriously, expectations and giving yourself grace.
Yes. That's a good one, giving yourself grace.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Cut yourself a break. You're doing the best you can.
That's right.
Now, is there one thing that you would think that you do on a daily basis, especially during this holiday season? Mm-hmm. Is there one thing that you think that really helps you the most? I mean, is it like something mental, physical, spiritual? Are you walking, praying, meditating? playing drums, dancing, eating. What is it?
Doing
What is
yoga.
it? Yeah, what is that one thing you think
one
that other
thing.
people could relate to,
Um,
either mentally, spiritually, physically, that you do?
I think one thing that's helped me is that saying, all right, you feel like you won't cry, so we're gonna cry for 10 minutes. Let it rip. Cry like everything. But then in 10 minutes we're gonna back off.
Yeah.
And I forget there's a term for that. Dosed grief.
Uh-huh.
And so you allow yourself 10 minutes to let it rip. And then you're able to go into, whatever holiday or because you are acknowledging your grief and saying, yep, it's appropriate, but it's not dragging me around.
Yes.
So if that makes any sense.
It does. Yes, it does.
So it is a balancing act, as all things are. But
how much do you think? I know you have a sister that's still with us, and even though y'all don't live in the same town, you're visiting with her.
Mhm.
But how important is being among friends and family, just to have that kind of contact? How important is that, especially during the holiday season, as you're dealing with this grief?
It's very important. It's been very, very helpful. I go different places, and it's, it gives me a break in the grief. And, my sister and I both are, still the process of my mother's grief. She passed 4 years ago, November. And so, that's parts, especially her, she's integrating that into her system. So,
and then, and I know we talked about birthdays too, being one of those highlighted days.
Right, yeah.
And Lisa passed, her birthday's coming up, February, March?
Right, February.
So anything that you're kind of planning ahead, like how will you deal with that? The first birthday after they've made their transition, is there something special you'd want to do with that?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. We used to like to go to the mountains in North Carolina, go to Saluda.
Yeah.
And so I'm planning something like that for her birthday.
Oh, good.
As a way
Yes.
to honor it, and it's, something we would have done. And, my birthday was in October, so I was at the farm, which was a, very special place for me. So that helped me to, it was a celebration high point. And so that was a way of connecting and affirming. And I knew Lisa would, like seeing me happy.
Right.
So that was a way of dealing with that birthday.
Yes.
And so, but yeah, another thing I've read is that to do things, affirm things that they enjoy doing as a way of honor and keeping their memory alive.
Oh, no, that's nice. Yeah, to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I'm making a notebook of Lisa's things, her life, and then the cards I received, sympathy cards, and so I'm putting together a memory notebook. So that's
that's nice.
Recommended.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I've got all the stuff she wrote. She was a good writer.
Yeah.
She just didn't. But anyway, that was her choice.
Okay.
She had the ability, and
Right.
so I've got what I've got of her writing. So.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
If people can adopt
Yeah.
some of those.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So
Good advice.
yeah, I may put some of those on my website for people.
And we're still thinking about the your podcast, or maybe a website or something about called the grieving.
Grieving, yeah.
That'd be great. I think.
Yeah. It's getting there.
Okay. Yes.
One thing about this and the grief thing, if you're in the grief process, we all are in different stages of grief process. But if you're in the early one like me, and your brain is about a quarter to a third there, you're normal.
Right.
It sucks, but true.
Right.
So I have all these ideas generating that I'm trusting that they'll come out at the right time.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Yes. All right. Outstanding. Well, thank you so much, Greg. Sure. Goodness. All right, let's finish up our slide. So remember, we we talked about today. Then we define grief, just the basic definition of that, assessing our grief and creating acronyms. So what are our current griefs? How are we feeling? What are we thinking? And then what is going to be our evolved or healed thinking and feeling process. So remember to have those 2 sheets of paper. As Greg suggested, maybe you want to reevaluate that every month and do a new sheet just to show yourself and keep track of that, just to show how you truly are evolving with your work. And so when you think about our objectives, remember the objective also for you is to be happy, to be healed, to be evolved, to remember that you are a loving incarnation of our Creator, God. So please allow there to be opportunity for you to not only to love yourself again, even on a deeper level, but also the people, places, and things around you, because we certainly don't want to miss out on the magnificence of you and how you're that. Everyone is an important puzzle piece of life. And, when you look at a puzzle on a wall, if you saw a missing piece, it would kind of just, it's like you would ignore the whole other part of the puzzle and you would focus on the missing piece. So everybody has to be part of that puzzle. So please come back into that fold and to realize that this journey, you will heal at some point. Any closing thoughts, Greg, you'd like to share with people? And really, thank you again for being here, especially during this grieving first holiday since Lisa passed.
Thank you.
So thank you for providing these insights.
Sure. One thing that's being out in nature, Lisa and I always enjoyed that. And I will go by creeks and rivers now, and that's a source of healing for me. Just connecting with nature, getting back to Mother Earth. Don't let it sound new agey, but it is true anyway. It is our mother of sorts. So healing is available through the earth, and it's I think God created us that way. So we were made managers of creation. So it's our part to do that. Like they say in AA, work the program.
Yes.
We'll just work the grief and go with it and take it in.
Yes.
And it'll be redeemed.
Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you.
My
brother with different mothers.
That's right. Brother, different mothers, high school friends. And it's something how even back in those days, we had all these wonderful spiritual conversations about the world and humanity. And here we are, both ordained ministers, doing our thing on many different levels, but always one breath, one heartbeat, doing the same thing. So I love you, brother.
Right.
And thank you for sharing all this.
Thank you.
During this time. I know this is going to help a lot of people.
I hope so. That would be great.
And thank you for joining us, or those of us who watch us on a replay. And share this with your folks, if you will, and help our channel to grow. So wishing you a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and also wishing you much aloha in your life, because remember, you are loved. So please be loved and allow it to fill your life with everything you see, everything you hear, and everything you feel. Okay, and we love you. All right, let's close it out with a Hawaiian pow, and we'll just clap our hands. Ready? 1, 2, 3, pow. All right, aloha, and wonderful seeing you. Talk later.